The future is bright in Clemson, South Carolina. Yes, I know you're kind of shocked that I'm saying that. I'll get to that in just a moment. Um, Cade Klubnik, Christopher Vizzina. I'm going to dive in just a second. I'm Brian Knight. I'm not Bobby Durkins. At least I'm not Bobby Durkins here. If you're new here, subscribe. I appreciate you subscribing. I hope you make yourself at home and have a good time. And hit the thumbs up, if you will. Share it with your friends, neighbors, clergymen. I don't know. So, if you follow this show or you watch the show every now and again, you know I've been really tough on Clemson the past 2, maybe 3 years, but especially the past 2 years. I do not see Clemson football with orange colored glasses. And a lot of people don't like me for that. Well, that's fine with me. You can find enough homers who are going to tell you. I mean, they even have something good to say about the 3-8 season that Clemson had, I think, in 1998 when Tommy West was fired. I'm not one of those people. I'm not naturally a pessimist, but I will focus on reality. But today is very different for me. I don't know, maybe my vitamins are kicking in. Maybe I've had my fill of fiber. But the future is getting brighter and brighter for Clemson after it's coming out of a slump. Garrett Riley being hired at the beginning of the season, a change that none of us thought was going to happen, especially yours truly. Cade Klubnik being what we thought he was going to be, and anything that maybe he hasn't fulfilled that someone wants to criticize him over is not his fault. He's back. And we have this incredible quarterback out of Alabama, Christopher Vizzini. Or Vizzina. Vizzini. I want to say Vizzini. Vizzina. Now, just kind of tell you a little bit of the differences between Cade and Christopher. Christopher is a little bigger than Cade. Christopher is around 6'4", 215. Cade somewhere. Now, he might put on some weight over the spring and summer. But he's around 6'2"-ish, a little under 200 pounds. James Thompson's in here. Hello to you, my friend. Anyone, please feel free to comment in here. But what is really, really interesting is that Clemson finally has a quarterback room. I mean, we haven't had a quarterback room, to me, in a while. To me, I think the last good quarterback room that we had was when Trevor and Chase Bryce was in the same room. I really believe that. And I've talked about DJ, how he was in the wrong system. Now, I'm not going to go through that entire deal. But I am not taking a shot at him with DJ and when he was there with Trevor. But history is making it more and more clear that Chase Bryce and Trevor Lawrence was the last real quarterback room that we had, that if one went out, the other one could come in and win against good talent. Like, you trusted the ability of the backup. This is massive for Clemson. Clemson has needed this for a while now. Now, I'm not taking a shot at anybody who's been at Clemson over the past few years as a backup, but let's just be honest with ourselves. What was it, Tyson Pomachew, if I'm pronouncing that correct, forgive me if I'm not, came in for DJ a few years ago. Tyson looked like he had never seen a football field. This guy was a 4-star out of, Connecticut? He just did not look good. And Parker, you're 100% right. When was the last time we had a truly developed quarterback? That's a great question. We also have let me see, Sheffley 21. I think we could have just promoted Richardson to run the same new offense. Vizzina crapes the bed his senior season. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here anyway. I've heard good things about Richardson. We'll let that be for the time, but I see where you're going. Vizzina coming in and being there with Cade. Cade is going to sharpen his skills. Vizzina is going to give a security for the team. Not really as much this year, but the next. He'll create more of a comfort with Clemson going, hey, if something should happen with Cade, of course we don't want something bad to happen to him, but if it does, we're not starting some kid from the local high school. This is big. This is massive. These two worthwhile competitors in the same backfield, both are mobile. And they're not these short mobile guys who are basically running backs with decent arms, with an okay arm. These are quarterbacks. These are commanding quarterbacks who can move. You have to respect that they might just take off. They might extend the play, and your perfect coverage is no longer perfect. You mix that with Garrett Riley, then you combine that with Will Shipley, you combine that with Maffa. And I agree with you, James Thompson. I'm very concerned about our offensive line. Our offensive line has got to be fixed. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of the bull crap here. It is ridiculous. It is amazing to me that we can recruit out the wazoo at every position except that part. Although Tristan Lee was a big recruit. And what's that guy? Linthicum, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, big recruit. Anyway, I'll get off of that. I said I want to try to stay positive today. But folks, yes, that's got to be fixed. But I'm telling you, you want a quarterback who is mobile and who can throw on the run when you're trying to fix your offensive line. That's what you need. And now that you have two of them, and now there's going to be quarterback competition. Cade is the starter. Duh. We know that. Okay. I'm not taking away from that. But what I'm saying is that we have a capable quarterback back there. And I'm not taking a shot at any of the backups. I am just telling you, in this line of football, in this play of football, these types of teams, the Stetson Bennett's are far few in between. The Hunter Renfros, the walk-ons, they are far and few between. Why? Why is it a big deal that Stetson Bennett did what he did? Why is it a big deal that Hunter Renfro did what he did while he was at Clemson? I can tell you why. It's because they were walk-ons. And walk-ons, preferred or not, I mean, my Lord, they were not signed with the team. They walked on. That's the reason it's a big deal. But folks, that does not happen every day. That's actually more why it's a big deal. And to see that we actually have a quarterback ring developing, good grief. That can extend the time it takes to fix our offensive line. Now, as far as our wide receivers goes, I think we're going to see better play out of them. We do have we have three receivers right now, counting the tight end, Jake Brenningstill, who I truly believe can take off. Now, I want to see them in this offensive scheme. I want to see them being challenged by Garrett Riley. We know that if there's something wrong at the wide receivers positions coach, that a lot of people's questioning with Tyler Grisham, we all know that Garrett Riley is going to be he's going to be on that like white on rice. We know that. So I don't think he's going to let this just, well, I guess my wide receivers can't catch the ball today. Oh, look out there. It's a nice day. That's not how he's going to be, folks. And I agree with you, Sheffley 21. We have to, they have to produce. But I am telling you, I think you're going to see that between the ability to throw the ball, the ability to run as a quarterback, and the new gameplay. I'm really excited about this. This is the most excitement I have had about our offense in a while. I've talked about my concerns. I'm going to try not to just beat the drum that I've been beating a lot. Red Dean 88, I'm with you. I want to see Adam Randall show up in practice. Once again, there's a lot of people right now who's going to get a pass from me. I guess you would say pass. Some grace for what's happened over the past couple of years, because the past couple of years, the offense has been just absolutely terrible with fantastic athletes. We know this. History has shown that. Now we have a new offensive coordinator, someone who said that he wanted to be explosive and powerful. That checked both my boxes there. A lot of people divorce those two, but championship offenses has to be explosive and powerful. So we're going to see what happens with the wide receiving core. But these two quarterbacks, they are going to get a chance of a lifetime to get Clemson back on track. And I know some, I'm going to be negative for just a second. Some homer out there is going, I'll take 10-3. I remember when we couldn't win 10. Okay, go. Just enjoy your mediocrity. If you're mediocre and you don't have the talent, okay. If you have the talent and you're mediocre or you're average, you're wasting years of eligibility for once in a lifetime talent. If that's okay with you, man, men don't have fight anymore. I guess that's it. Good grief. But with this quarterback room, man, it gives us a fighting chance. It gives us a flipping fighting chance. Now, Cade's the starter. Vizzina. Let's talk about him. Some people says he's going to play a few, he'll play the first 4 games, and they're going to redshirt him. I believe our 4th game of the season is Florida State. I believe it. I could be wrong. I don't have the schedule in front of me right off the top of my head. So what? Our first game's Monday night, Labor Day. We're going to be up at Durham. That's going to be really interesting. In fact, I'd like to try to go to that game, but then Charleston Southern 5 days later, Florida Atlantic, and then I want to say Florida State. By that time, our offense is going to have 3 games under its belt to get some time in, get the feel. What I'm really interested in seeing is this against Florida State. I'm really interested to see Florida State because I'm not sold that they're completely back. I think they're going to be more competitive. And by the way, if they're not more competitive after all the people that they have signed and the recruiting class that they had and the transfer portal and then all the hype from the media, which I understand why they do that, so they can sell subscriptions and keep people engaged and get different fan bases engaged and so on. If they don't, if man, that's going to be terrible for that. There'll be people jumping off the back of Doak Campbell. But for Clemson to have 2 quarterbacks, even if they redshirt Vizzina after that game, I don't think they will, by the way. I don't think they will. I don't know what they need to get him as much playing time as possible. And maybe I'm wrong. But this is exciting to have these quarterbacks give us the chance to win, to bring mobility, to be able to throw the ball, to be able to give Clemson kind of an insurance policy that if Cade should go down, we're not dead in the water. And that opens up the running game even, and I know we've got half Shipley, we have Maffa, but that opens up the run game because you have to respect that the quarterback can pull the ball and take off running. And that takes some of the pressure off of the offensive line. Is he handing the ball off? Is he pulling? It's not going to fix everything. I've already said I don't think we're going to win a national championship this year. Got Sheffley 21 saying, I think Vizzina transfers. I don't see that, but hey, maybe you gave us a prophecy a few years before. I never thought that we would have a issue with DJ, and it ended up happening. But hey, I don't know. I just don't see that. Neon Dion, Mr. Knickerbocker is in the house. All right. It's good to see you. Jermaine Woods, blasphemy. We have a shot. What's up, Jermaine? Just having their ability to throw the ball downfield. Now, I'll tell you what I want to see. Okay. This is Brianisms here. What I want to see is Cade come out, get his time, get his numbers, get really good and acclimated so that by the time we get to Florida State, and he's ready. And he's doing his thing. The offense is flowing. And it's time to play Florida State, Notre Dame, North Carolina later on in the season. Of course, South Carolina. Everybody's in a, I mean, by that time, they'd definitely be in a rhythm. That's the end of the season. But having Vizzina in a place to where if Cade went down, Vizzina could come in and do his thing. I'm telling you, this is wonderful. This is what you want. This is how championship teams become championship teams. This is how teams get back to the place to where they're a championship contender. And so this is very, very exciting for me. I'm going to close this video. I know there's a lot of things that we could talk about. I know we could dive into, how are they going to use them, blah, blah, blah. I have no clue, folks. I do agree that I would like to see Adam Randall stop doing great in practice and do great on the field. Then again, I give him grace just like I give the other receivers grace. I would like to see Ngata in this scheme. I'd love to see Ngata in this scheme. He's not going to be in it, but I'd like to see him in this scheme. Clemson folks, listen to me. We have enough really good athletes at wide receiver and tight end who can really come in and make a difference. A legitimate difference. I'm not talking about a good game against FAU or one of the scrub teams of the ACC, which unfortunately there's a decent amount of scrub teams in the ACC. There's just some really good things here. I think the wide receivers can pull it together. I think we need to give them some grace. Now, if they're still terrible or questionable at game 6, I think we're looking at a coaching issue. And I've said this before. It's one thing for a couple of 4-star, 5 stars. 4 stars and 5 stars do matter. I know everybody doesn't like that. It's like, no, they don't matter. Yeah, it does matter because in the wash, you're going to have law of numbers. You're going to have some bad players. That was overrated. But overall, you are going to get those really good players. That's why Georgia's where they're at right now. That's why Alabama is where they're at right now. That's why Ohio State is there. That's why we've been there in the past. So don't give me that. Stars do matter. But if the majority of your 4 and 5-star players at a specific position starts falling off, that's not the law of numbers anymore. Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, all the big schools were recruiting a lot of the same guys that are on our team at wide receiver. And here's the deal. Guess what? If we were bad at recruiting, they were dropping the ball too. They were dropping the ball on these same players. My point is they're not. My point is the players as a whole need to be developed, and I think this scheme's going to bring it out. Jermaine Wood says, I agree with you, but what do you make of Hunter Helms running with the twos? I think that Sweeney being loyal and giving him, experience is going to help there. You need to have Hunter Helms being able to run things, just in case Vizzina is not. If I keep saying Vizzina, y'all please forgive me. Vizzina, if he continues to do his, if he comes out there and he doesn't do well and he has a slow start, Hunter Helms needs to be ready. Hunter Helms knows the program. He's been around that long. So that's good that he's running. We need, especially at quarterback, you need as strong of a room as you possibly can. So he has experience. He knows the program, and that helps. That majorly helps. Vizzina is the future, and after Cade, unless something crazy happens. Shuffly21 says, I agree. Apparently, all these receivers are all world in practice. Time to see it. That's the thing. That's the thing, and I know that coaches can only judge on what they see in practice to a point. But once you get into games and you start seeing a pattern that what you're seeing in practice is not transcending to game time, practice doesn't matter. That's like a musician who is really good in rehearsal, and then you get them on the live stage, they're hitting bad notes, they forget the songs. Well, nobody would pay to come see that. And that's the same thing here when it comes to football, basketball, anything. You practice very well. It doesn't make sense. It's not a logical. A good practice should transcend or transfer to the field. So it really doesn't make sense. But I agree with you. I saw last year EJ Williams making an amazing catch in practice. It was what I always thought. And that's somebody else that looked incredible his freshman year. And it was just like, and so my point in this is that I don't care what they do in practice. If they're killing it in practice and they're not doing well on the field, we've got an issue. And it's either coaching or it's the player. A few more comments. Kenneth Burleson. I hadn't seen you in a while, Kenneth. You're always good to comment. The quarterback room is fine. A glaring problem last season was the secondary. We could not cover the pass. I hope that's fixed. We do have some good athletes back there. I'm hoping that is fixed. We will see. We will see. I just think that hopefully on the offensive side, if we get into a shootout, we have the offense, namely at quarterback, to step up, make the move. We have the play caller. We have like the most desired play caller in college football until especially after Todd Monken left and went to the NFL. Todd Monken, to me, was the best offensive coordinator I've seen in quite a while. By the way, I can give, not all, but most Georgia fans, I can give them that compliment, and they still want to talk trash. It's like, man, you can't even tell you that your kid's a nice kid. Yeah, and he'd whip your tail. Go Dogs. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to close this sucker down. Thank you for joining me. Clemson's future is bright. Is much brighter than what it was. just a few days after that Tennessee loss. We have the quarterbacks. We have the offensive coordinator. Yes, we've got to fix the O line. Um, yes, we got to fix certain things in secondary. And yes, our defense needs to step up in certain areas. But overall, I think that we're in probably the best place we've been in the while. Now, is it like Sweeney said, better than ever? No, it's not, and I disagree with him. But we are in a better position. Hopefully, that will end up putting us in a better place next year, and hopefully bringing in some recruits, and maybe, I don't know, reaching into the transfer portal like everybody else is doing, and bringing in some talent that could be effective immediately. But hey, I won't harp on that. I'll just take the wins I have today, at least for today. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, pass it along to your buddies, your friends, even people who hate my guts. Maybe they can let their hate out. But and I look forward to hearing from you again. Clemson's future is bright. Hopefully we can cash in this year. Even if it's not a national championship, hopefully we can see that the ship is sailing in the right direction. So we'll see. You take care. Catch you next time.